Welcome back to Portsmouth Cathedral, the principal church of the Diocese of Portsmouth and the Isle of Wight. Here we are in the nave, the most modern part of the cathedral, built in the 1930s. Previously, we've looked at secret staircases and other nooks and crannies in the cathedral. Today we're going to visit a familiar landmark, but it's usually off limits to visitors. Here we are at the entrance to the 17th century church. We just pause for a minute and look back at the lovely prospect of the West End. We've got the rose window flanked by the Trompetta del Mar. These are actually organ chords and they're very loud. Below that we have the singing gallery, and below that the great bronze doors with their design of the Tree of Life that you can see from the outside, and its bronze roots going out into the paving. It's important to remember that this whole area of the nave until the 1920s was in fact graveyard and surrounded by housing. In fact, the entire church was hemmed in by buildings, and you approach the church on a path up the middle of the graveyard to the door. I'm standing at the entrance to the medieval church, and just above where the altar is today, you can see a golden boss with the light hanging from it. That was the position of the medieval tower. Now, the medieval tower came down during the English Civil War. Parliament's forces occupied Gosport. They built a platform for their cannon and proceeded to blast the medieval tower of the church, because the royalist officers, the king's officers, were on the tower watching their every move. They were excellent marksmen, and the tower is nearly 500 years old, because this is in 1642, and it came down and wrecked the medieval nave. In 1660, the monarchy was restored, and Charles II in 1662 rode down from London, right down High Street to the Square Tower. He was there to pick up his bride, Princess Catherine of Braganza, who'd just arrived from Portugal. He intended to marry her in this church, and he was very angry to discover that it was still strewn with rubble. He in fact married her in the governor's residence in his dining room, about 2 minutes walk from here. But to be fair to Charles II, he ordered the Anglican churches in a brief to raise money to rebuild the nave. Charles II wanted the tower to be built first. He wanted it rebuilt, and he wanted it repositioned from where it was to where it is now. And that's what we're going to visit next. Well, here we are in the organ loft, and you can see the front of the organ says 1718. It's a Jordan organ on the outside. The casing is a Jordan organ. At the start of the war, every piece of the organ mechanics was taken to bits, carefully tagged, numbered, sent for safekeeping to a warehouse on the Thames, where it received a direct hit. So after the war, we were looking for a new organ. To find out more about our organ, you can see the video on the website Inside the Organ. Well, here we are. We've come up the 17th century stone tower in the bell ringing chamber. And of course, these are the ropes that the bell ringers take down when they're ringing the peals. Information about the bells is very sketchy. We know that in the 13th century, there's written evidence that there were 2 bells in the medieval cathedral. 1632, well, there's mention of 4 bells. And in 1642, we know that the damage caused by the Civil War, there was one of the bells completely wrecked. In 1642, there's very little evidence about the bells. 1703, we are told that 8 bells had been given to the church. There are various theories about who gave them and where and when and from, and we really don't know. But by 1913, we know that all the bells were renovated. And in 1957, we know that 10 bells were rehung. 2010, a ring of 12 new bells was blessed in the cathedral. And this had come about because of a fundraising campaign to raise money for the extra 2 bells. So the bells hang at the bottom of the louvered wooden leaded octagon that is now called the cupola. And we're going to go up there now, and on our way we're going to pass the clock mechanism. The first clock was installed by Mayor Brandon in 1703. It was rather marvellous because it played hymns and did all sorts of different things. The mechanism of this clock, which was an important timepiece in the community when very few people had watches, none of the mechanisms survived beyond 1846. In 1789, however, 4 clock faces were added to the mechanism. In the 1950s, 3 of these were removed. The present-day mechanism dates from 1869, and it was renovated in 1913. The present clock was installed in 1869, and it was renovated in 1937. Until 1973, it had to be wound by hand until an electric system was installed. Here we are in the Belfry. This louvered stage contains the bells and the wheels. The louvered shutters are only opened when the bells are ringing to announce news of national importance, jubilation, or great sadness. Shutters are opened and the bells can be heard on the Isle of Wight. Above this is the dome. It has 8 portholes so that you can have all-round visibility of Portsmouth Harbour. Above that is the lantern or beacon, and above that is the replica weather vane. Here we are in the highest part of the cathedral with the 8 portholes giving us all-round visibility. Thank you for joining us. We hope you'll be able to come and visit us very soon.